It's an absolute gorgeous day here in Calgary. Sky is blue, sun is out, birds are chirping. Got a really early start to the day. I was out there shooting a whole bunch of photos and video. But what I really need to do now is I need to get back home and I need to finish off the end of my Spark Flyaway story. So yeah, let's go do that. Okay, I am back home now and it's time to finish off the story of my DJI Spark Flyaway. Anyhow, I don't want to make this a really long-winded story. I basically just want to share my experience and share the resolution, and hopefully you guys find that useful. I just want to say, like, when I lost my Spark, well, number one, it was my wedding day, so that was like super bad timing. But it was my third flight of the day, and I wasn't going to put it up for the third time because the first two times I put it up, you know, I got the shots I wanted. I just wanted kind of some overhead shots, you know, of the area where we got married and some of the crowd and things like that. But the third time, the kids were just begging me, put it up again, put it up again. You know, they were just having a grand old time. They loved it. So yeah, sure enough, I fired it up there again, and then I was doing, you know, a couple little spinoramas there to show them what it could do, and yeah, it goes nuts. Before this flyaway, I had a couple of minor incidents. Well, one wasn't so minor when I crashed into a tree. But, you know, I've had my share of the Spark losing connection to my iPhone or it dropping into ADI mode. And every time that happened, well, it certainly wasn't like this particular experience. Every time those other incidents happened, except for the crash, dropping into ADI mode or losing connection, the drone would just kind of hover in place and then I was able to reestablish a connection or just bring it back manually. But this particular flight where it flew away was very, very different. Okay, so this is what the flight log looked like, and this is basically just a fun flight. So we're ready for takeoff. We've got 14 satellites, you know, good GPS signal, you know, everything's good. So we advance a little bit here, and we see that, okay, so home point is recorded, so we've got our return to home. That's awesome. Still great satellite connections, 47% battery, we're on GPS. Everything is just terrific. So let's speed it up here a little bit. So you can see I'm kind of goofing around with the camera. And like I said, this is just meant to be kind of a fun flight, just to show people what it could do. So we go speeding around, do a couple turns and loops, having a good time. And then, boom. So right away, we get this exception and we get a compass error and it exits GPS mode. So you can see here, no GPS signal, and we've dropped to ADI mode. And that's not a big deal. ADI mode, I've dropped to ADI mode several times. I mean, this was my 79th flight. I've been there before, no big deal. Drone hovers in place, just bring it back, you know, all is good. But this was different because when I dropped into ADI mode and didn't touch the controllers, this thing was still moving. It was moving fast and it was moving away from me. So let's advance a little bit more. And now you see here, suddenly this blue dot appears down here. So my drone, when it's lost its mind and lost control, it was here. It didn't come back to home and start leaving from the home position. It was here. So this activity where you see it moving is probably occurring, well, it is occurring here. So let's advance a little further here. And so this thing really starts to take off. Now at this point, you can see the height is going up, and I do have control with the joystick. And I didn't really know what was going on. It was a bit of a panic response, and I was just trying to boost its height. I was trying to get it up, get the altitude up, because I was worried about it clipping a tree. And you know, in retrospect, that probably you know, sealed the doom for the drone because it cleared all the treetops and made it, you know, a successful getaway. So here we go. We'll just advance a little bit more here, and as you can see, it's just taken off away from me. Still in ADI mode, no GPS, no satellites, and then here we go. A whole bunch more compass errors. And the command timeout was, I was pressing the return to home button on the remote, which, you know, I mean, that was kind of a bit of a panic response too. my natural instinct was just, well, we got to get this thing back, hit the return to home. But of course, it doesn't know where home is. It's completely lost its mind. It's not listening to anything. It's just taking off. So from here, I pretty much had no control over the drone whatsoever. I mean, it just completely took off in this direction. And if you've watched the previous video, Bye Bye Sparky, you might recognize this green roofed house with a matching garage. And at that point, I think it was about 800 meters to a kilometer away from me. And shortly after seeing this home, my iPhone video signal dropped, and then shortly after that, my remote connection dropped. But we figure it, kept along. It didn't seem to deviate. It was keeping itself in a pretty straight line. We figure it kind of, took off along that path. And the areas that we were kind of searching in the video were just those areas. So we concentrated our efforts in these kind of open areas because it was really the best hope of finding the drone. Any of these thickly treed, forested areas, forget it. It's such a small thing. You would just never find it. And it's very difficult to move through this kind of bush. So we focused mostly on these clearings over here by the reservoir. There's a nice clearing here, and over here. And also this area over here, just in case it kind of wobbled from its trajectory. But there wasn't much hope. It's a pretty big area, and we walked for about 2 hours and 5 kilometers, and we just saw nothing. It's really difficult to track it in this kind of terrain. So after the spark flew away, I was kind of stunned. I kind of didn't know what to do right away. But then I started looking, at the app and stuff, and there is a find your drone feature within the DJI Go app. But that was completely useless because the thing disconnected long before it stopped moving. So I lost connection probably, I'm guessing about a kilometer away from me, and this thing had about 30% battery life, and it was still moving away from me when I had lost connection to my phone and connection to my remote. Regardless, so we spent about 30 minutes. We kind of got across the highway and spent about 30 minutes just sort of driving around the roads there and just seeing if it just happened to be, lying about in a completely open and obvious spot. But it was not to be, and it was our wedding day, so we didn't have a lot of time to look for it. We had to get off to dinner, and we're just going to worry about it the next day. So the next day, we got up fairly early and decided to go, spend at least a bit of time looking for the drone. So before we started the search for Sparky, we looked at the satellite maps, and we looked at the last trajectory, and we basically tried to orient ourselves along that path. We walked for about 2 hours, and I think it was about 5 kilometers, and there was just not even a sign, not even a whisper. So after our ground search turned up nothing, we decided to take our search online to see what we could find. So Jen did some Googling, and she came up with a number of people that had similar flyaway type situations with the Spark. One particular example we saw online, this fellow was doing an active track of a bicycle going down a roadway, and you see in the video where the Spark just kind of loses its mind and takes off across this farmer's field. They were pretty lucky. I think after about a 2-hour search, they were able to find their Spark and retrieve it, but it was quite interesting because it looked like the same thing that had happened to me. So about 2 days after I lost my Spark, I was back home in Calgary, and the first thing I did was I emailed DJI tech support. So I got an email back from DJI support the next day, and they requested a whole bunch of information, flight logs, any cached video from the event, invoice, warranty serial number, that kind of stuff. So after I submitted that second batch of information, they got back to me, I think, in about 3 business days, and they requested a bit more information. So they wanted the serial number of the remote, they wanted the warranty card for the Spark, and what was the other thing they wanted? Oh, they wanted an invoice, which I'd already sent them, but I sent it to them again. So about 3 days after I sent DJI the additional information, I got an email back from DJI support saying that it was a warranty issue and they are going to issue me a coupon for a new Spark drone. Yay! I can't tell you how happy it made me feel knowing that DJI was going to replace the Spark under warranty. I mean, when something like that happens, the first thing I think the natural tendency is to blame yourself. Like, what did I do? Like, how did I screw this up? I'm a bad pilot. And but you know, the more we started looking online and seeing similar issues and just kind of replaying the day's events in my head, it's like, well, you know what? I don't feel like I did anything wrong. So DJI coming forward and saying, yeah, you know what? This is a warranty issue and we're going to replace it. It's like, yoo-hoo, I'm vindicated as a pilot. I'm not a great pilot, but I didn't cause this problem. So yeah, super stoked that a new Sparky will be coming home very soon. So yeah, as soon as I got that coupon code, I'm like, I ordered my new Spark. And the only slightly depressing part about that is when I ordered my original Spark, I ordered Alpine White. It wasn't my favorite color, but it was like the only one that was available and the only one that was going to ship before I went on some of my holidays. So when I ordered my replacement Spark with the coupon, I'm like, oh, maybe this is my chance to order a different color, maybe blue or green or red or something like that. But sadly, I could only replace my white Spark with another white Spark. But that is like the minorest of minor quibbles. I'm just so happy that my Spark is being replaced, and kudos to DJI support for really good response, getting back really quickly, and ultimately standing behind their product. No product on this planet is flawless, but when you stand behind it with a warranty, like 2 thumbs up, I applaud it, and it makes me want to buy another DJI product, that's for sure. So until Sparky 2 gets here, I will leave you with a bit of footage from Sparky 1. Sparky 1? Original Sparky? Sparky Classic? Sparky? Well, my first drone before it flew away. That footage.